Today we're gonna be discussing the number one tip for painting better environments while also painting over this beautiful artwork submitted in the paintover entries of our Discord server. I'll share my whole thought process and go through all of the different steps that I'll take to improve this artwork. So without wasting any more time, let's do this. So here we have a really beautiful piece. The composition is really nice. As you can see, there is a framing going on. The character is positioned roughly at the thirds, so that's a great thing. And the castle is almost in the center, so that our eye is drawing towards this castle, and this would be the main focal point of this illustration. We also have different levels of this cave, so this one is darker, this is slightly lighter, and everything else is even lighter than this brown. So we do have some sense of depth and atmosphere in this piece, which is really nice. The character's silhouette is really interesting. We can see the weapons that this character is carrying, and there are also some really interesting story elements going on, like these weapons on the side and arrows sticking out of the rocks. The birds and the god rays, really nice touch. So let's talk about what we can improve in this artwork. So first of all, let's talk about the castle. Now the values on the castle and the values on the sky are too similar, and that's why it's very difficult to get a good visual read on this castle, because the values are merging with the background. So we should be able to see this beautiful silhouette of the castle very easily. You can also notice that there is a mountain going further down, which again is merging into the background. I think part of this is deliberate because there is a lot of dust on the bottom area, but it's suddenly disappearing from this point. We can make it more subtle. Since the light is coming from this direction, I think the intention was to add some light on this area to highlight the castle, which we're gonna do in our paintover. I love how there are different light and shadow forms on this castle. If we could do the same on this mountain, that would be great. We can add a bunch of layers of rocks and different interesting shapes to make it look less flat and more 3D. So the rocks in the foreground and in the midground both are very parallel and in a straight line. The ground is also in a very straight line, and even this one. It's making it all very boxy and less natural. We could maybe use some more interesting shapes to suggest rocks. We can also change the shape to make it look less in a straight line and a bit more random maybe. See this repetition of shapes? Our eyes are naturally more drawn towards repetition. So this repetition of shapes is quite distracting. The same repetition is going on here and even here. If this is a man-made structure, sure, that would work. But if it's very natural and we want to show inside of a cave, then we could maybe randomize the size and shapes of these elements. So we could make a smaller one, a bigger one, maybe another smaller one, or a medium-sized, maybe something chipped off. This foreground rock seems to be closer to the camera, and this part looks like it's slightly farther away in the background. So there is a distance between these two. When we draw repeating shapes in the foreground and midground and keep the sizes same, it's very difficult to register distance. So it's a good strategy that if there is a repeating shape in the foreground and in the midground, then we could scale up the object that is in the foreground. This would register scale more easily, since it would feel like these are the same objects, but because of perspective, we can see that as it goes farther into the background, it becomes smaller. So we could keep that in mind. We could also add smaller rocks and some irregular terrain on the ground here, and maybe add some sense of perspective, like a path going into this foreground, or maybe a few bigger rocks in the foreground. Lastly, we could also add some light on this character. We could do that on the hair, on the arm, maybe some of the objects around here, just so that it doesn't look like a flat 2D silhouette, but a 3D form. Now here's the number one tip for painting environments. It's very important to draw subjects in a way that they are very easily readable against the background. If your main subject is dark, you should probably use a relatively lighter background so that the silhouette is more readable. And if the main character is very well lit, then you could use a darker object in the background. So if you look at this castle, maybe we could add some lighter values in the background so that the silhouette is more unreadable. Or if we want to make this castle very bright, then we could use a relatively darker value in the background. I think that's everything we're gonna be doing on this illustration. So without wasting any more time, let's do this.
I hope you found value in this video. If you did, you might also want to check out some of the other paintover videos on my channel. Alright then, that's it for today. I'll see you in another video. Take care.